Annalee Newitz, and I'm going to read you a sneak peek from my new book, Four Lost Cities, A Secret History of the Urban Age, and I'm doing it to help spread the word about Worldbuilders, which is running its giant end-of-the-year fundraiser right now. So when I'm not being a science fiction writer, I'm a science journalist, and my new book, which is coming in July, is a book about archaeology and about my quest to understand why four ancient cities were abandoned. So this is a tiny bit from chapter 1. I journeyed to one of the world's oldest cities by hopping on an air-conditioned bus in Konya, a busy metropolis of 2 million people in central Turkey. The morning was cloudless and hot as we bounced along the road out of town, past stores selling everything from fresh eggs to Apple computers. When the gleaming apartment towers gave way to fields, we did not leave civilization behind. We passed tidy Bedouin camps by the side of the road and wound through small towns where new homes were going up almost on every block. After about 45 minutes, the bus stopped in a small gravel parking lot. Wooden cabins and long, low buildings surrounded a pleasant courtyard full of canopied picnic tables. It looked like a retreat center or maybe a small school. But it was actually a portal on the distant past. A few hundred yards beyond the picnic tables was the slope of the East Mound, a low, wind-smoothed plateau created by 9,000 years of human history. From above, the 33-acre East Mound has a teardrop shape, its contours like an earthen blanket draped over the remains of a clay-walled city whose inhabitants built houses atop houses for so long that this plateau rose out of the layers of construction. Beyond the East Mound was the newer West Mound, a smaller and newer neighborhood that formed about 8,500 years ago. When this city was young, rivers flowed around these city hills, and farms were scattered across the Konya plain nearby. Today, the land is dry and covered in patches of yellowing grass. I sucked in a breath of warm, dusty air. This is where it all started. The world I knew, full of permanent houses, farms, writing, and cities swarming with thousands of people, was born in places like this. Chitalhoyuk was a city before cities really existed. Some archaeologists call it a megasite, or an outsized village where smaller settlements merged. It wasn't exactly a group of distinct villages, but it wasn't a cohesive whole either. When the earliest layer of construction began on the East Mound, most people coming to live there might have been only a generation or two removed from nomadism. Chitalhoyuk's architecture, unlike anything we see in the region thereafter, reflected a community figuring out how to build an environment that could support thousands of people rather than a small band roving across the plains. Each house was constructed like a cell in a honeycomb, pressed tightly against its neighbors, with almost no streets to separate them. The city grid was at least 1 story above the ground, and sidewalks wound across rooftops, with front doors cut into their ceilings. Simple wooden ladders helped residents climb up to the city and down into their homes. Everywhere in the city's art, we can see the shock of collision between a deep history of life on the road and the new ways of staying put. People who climbed through one of Chitalhoyuk's thousands of doorways were passing into the future of human society. Once inside, they found themselves in an alien world where people's identities were tied to a fixed location, and survival hinged on whether the climate was favorable for farming. Settled life was difficult for all kinds of reasons, and humans might easily have decided to chuck urbanism forever. But we didn't. And that's what led me here, millennia later, to figure out what the hell our ancestors were thinking. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. If you enjoyed this, please do consider donating to Worldbuilders. Every $10 you donate gets you a chance to win fabulous prizes while making the world a better place.